right, welcome back to Lane Switching. Today, I'm in here with a very special guest. I got my first ever R&B singer coming through, and it's none other than Maral. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
How you been? How's life? How's everything going?
Everything's going really well. How are you?
I'm good. So let's just start off right from the beginning, before music. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
My dad is an engineer and my mom is an accountant. Basically, I grew up in a very strict Asian household, so I had to get good grades. So when I graduated high school, I decided that I would be going to university. So I'm currently in third year neuroscience and my minor is biology. So that's what I do on the side when I'm not singing or performing.
That's super nice. So how initially did you get into music? What was your entrance into the music scene?
So my mom's mom is an opera singer and my mom is also a singer. So I always learned singing in the household and everything like that. It was always very introduced to me from a very young age. So yeah, music was introduced to me from a young age, and my dad also plays guitar. So him and my mom kind of do music together, and then I started singing at 3, and then they heard me and they were like, wow, she's really good. She can hold a note. She has a good attitude when she's singing, and yeah, it's been like that ever since.
And so when was it actually, when did you actually start releasing music? When did you start putting that out to show to the public?
So I think in my first year university, all of high school, I was kind of singing and posting cover videos. And my first year going into university, I had posted a cover by XXX Tentacion. And it was a cover of Dead Inside. And the video hit 75K. It just blew up. So then I was like, oh, if I'm so good at singing this cover, maybe I should start making my own music. Because he had really inspired me at the time. So I waited a few months and then finally I made my first ever single. It was really bad, badly mixed, badly produced, it was really bad. And then so I found a studio with an actual engineer.
Nice.
And then I released my first song. It was called SOS. And I took it down now. But yeah, so I've been releasing music since I would say maybe 2018, 2019.
Nice.
Yeah, so 3-4 years.
That's sick. And I think it's been, on your YouTube page, it's been 2 years since you released a visual. It was for the track Thinking. Why is it now in 2023? Why do you want to come back to releasing music? What has kind of sparked the interest or the, creative whatever going to get back to releasing just like you were in 2021?
So that's a really good question. I think that the biggest difference in my music now from then was before I was really interested in hip hop music and kind of melodic rapping, and I had just broken out with Without and Thinking as my first kind of music that was going into the R&B stream. So my first songs that were going into the R&B stream were those 2 songs, but lyrically I felt like they were lacking a little bit. So I kind of took the time over the last 2 years to really focus on my lyrics, focus on my melodies, and kind of just iron out who I am as a personal artist and what I want to represent. So I did a whole rebrand and kind of delve deeper into my culture. And so I kind of lead with that with my music. So I make everything more, kind of deeper. So I have a lot of layers in my music and a lot of harmonies, and that's just to summarize where I am right now is I would call myself ambient R&B, whereas with Thinking I wasn't really ambient. I was just kind of making R&B to make R&B, but I really fell in love with R&B. So yeah, from then I just started honing in on my craft, and then now I finally feel like my sound is where I want it to be.
For sure. And it seems like, as an artist, you're kind of maturing as an artist. When do you think you had that phase of kind of rather than just making a catchy song, making something with deeper meaning? When did that kind of click where it was okay, I want to put something out that, really represents me?
I think it was last year when I made a single called Love. And it's my favorite song even to this day. And it's basically just navigating loving somebody else and also loving yourself. So a lot of my music too has double meanings. I like to talk about mainly like love and just relationships, but I always like to keep it positive. And even when I'm talking about something negative, I try to bring it back to the positive. Like, yes, I did something negative, but I want to grow from that. And so that's what I kind of want to take away from my music. I feel like a lot of music recently has been very negative. So I like to be a very positive person. So the music I make is just around love. So you can interpret it the way that you interpret it. But yeah, Love was the single that really, really made me like notice that I had found my sound and that I started talking about what I really wanted to talk about.
That's super dope. And you know, it was like you said 2 years ago when you released Thinking with the visuals. How did that whole project come together? How did the song come together? How did the visuals come together? You know?
So I made this song, I think like a year before. So I made it like 3 years ago, or maybe 2 years and a half ago. And then I released it 2 years ago. The music video, I always wanted to make music videos. So I always like love visuals, and I'm hoping in the future that I'm going to be making more. Like I definitely am. For me, content is very important. So I wanted something that represented me as best as possible. So I had a surgery like 5 days before I shot the video.
Wow.
So it was like a huge surgery, like an abdominal surgery. And I stayed in the hospital for like 5 days. And 5 days before I released the video, I was released from the hospital. And so I went to the music video still like healing from my surgery.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it has to be very like minimal moving around. I can't move around too much, but I still wanted to be able to tell the story. So I have it outside in the winter. Then I have this like really cute shot of like everybody going down like the snow hill, and in the studio, because that's really important to me, like studio shots. That's where I made the song. So yeah, and then with my friends, we're dancing. And then also I shot it in a grocery store, and it was Middle Eastern owned, and it's called Food Frenzy. So yeah, I contacted him and I said, listen, like I'm shooting a video. Would it be okay if I come to your grocery store and just shoot it? And he's like, yeah, you know, it's great. So yeah, that's the video, and I was really happy to make it. It's just kind of about like friendship and also like falling in love and like having fun, just enjoying your life.
Most definitely. And you know, you've done a lot of work with R&B. R&B, you could say, is your forte. Do you see yourself stepping out of R&B? Do you see yourself doing other genres? And if you were doing another genre outside R&B, what would it be?
So when I started, I was more in like melodic rapping, with a lot of melodies in the background, but I wasn't really confident enough to sing myself. But kind of my peers were like, you should really be singing R&B. Like, you're a good singer. Why don't you sing R&B? So I feel like in the future, I definitely don't want to cage myself in. I'm down to doing like EDM. I have a friend named Daisy Lanes, and he basically did a remix to my song On Me. And it's kind of like a perfect for like a rave or like a clubbing song. So it's really cool how he did the remix. And yeah, like he always said, you know, you would be really cool if you did EDM. So that, also melodic rapping. And yeah, like really I'm down for whatever. I listen to a lot of music, like a lot. Like I sometimes even listen to country. Like I really don't care. As long as it's catchy, I really don't care. But I do want to be more, I do want to transcend more in the like Arabic, Armenian, and English. So I want to kind of converge them all together and make my own genre in that way, to say like I'm speaking 3 different languages, trilingual. So yeah.
And I think something with, you know, not just doing English and not just doing, you know, a certain type of music is just, you're going to reach a larger audience, and especially a larger international audience, where it's like you're not kind of boxing yourself in with just like going for, you know, like the Western part of the world where you're just going to target Canada and the US. But if you can target, you know, other countries, that's awesome. It said on your Spotify profile, you actually have an interest in clothing and getting into like doing clothing brands, would you ever see yourself doing your own clothing brand? And if you do it, like, do you want that to be attached to your name, Maral? Do you want that to be attached to your image as a musician, or do you want it to be a completely different project?
That's a really good question too. I think my stem for wanting to be in the fashion world is because I just love fashion. I like editorial looks. I like things that are very different, almost like cosplaying, but not. I think it's really cool. And I've liked it since I was like a really young kid. Like I was a weird kid, so I was doing that when I was a kid, like doing the like going to school in grade 7 with like blue eyeshadow and like red lips. Like it just looked off, but I liked it. So I've always liked fashion and like kind of weird things. And I think the thing about fashion that I love the most is that you can be so unique. You can have like a huge nose, you can have like curly hair, like straight hair, you can have like really short hair, like you can be yourself. I think that's the most important thing about fashion and music too, is the individuality. So I feel like, yes, I would make a clothing line just based on individuality and uniqueness of the person wearing it, and statement pieces and things like that. And I would want to attach it to my name. So I would branch out. I have a lot of like interests and passions, but I like patchwork clothing and stuff like that. So more streetwear, but mixing it with West Asian wear as well. So Middle Eastern.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And I think, in Ottawa now we actually have a lot of people doing clothing brands and a lot of dope creatives out here where it's like, if you want to do that independently and you want to pursue that independently, I think you can go for it because there's just so many examples of people out here. You look at a brand like Hearts Are Fallen. I don't know if you know them, but that's a huge brand in Ottawa where it's just betting on yourself and taking it to the next level. When it comes to your music though, like branching out with other people, would you ever see yourself, what doesn't just have to be Ottawa, but just any artist you see, and who would it be, who would you like to feature with or do a feature for?
So like I'm really down to do features. I always tell people like my features are open. You can, sometimes I get commission for my features as well. For me, I'm okay with any genre to do collabs. Like I'm good with that. If I had to like name a person, I think like LMA, like Chris Brown, like thinking big.
For
But,
sure, for sure.
Nicki Minaj, like of course. So kind of along those lanes, like of borderline rap and R&B. But I think, yeah, who would be top of my list? I would say probably Chris Brown, because I feel like he's kind of like like if I had a guy version of myself, maybe like as a singer, I think it would be him. He puts a lot of like effort into his songs. His songs are very deep, so he has a lot of harmonies. He has a lot of layers in his music. So I feel like I kind of coincide with that. I think Drake too, because I also feel like our melodies could be similar. I like that he steps into R&B, he does rap, and I aspire that I can also be kind of playing within those genres as well.
Most definitely. And it's always good to branch out. Is there, I guess you could say, is there like, would you say those artists are like your most listened to artists? Who are you listening to right now?
That's a good question. I listen to a lot of my music. I nitpick on my music, so I'm listening to my music, my unreleased. If I had to pick an artist that I really, really listen to, I would say that I listen to a lot of Frank Ocean.
Nice.
I listen to a lot of Daniel Caesar. I listen to a lot of LMA. I listen to a lot of Michael Jackson. So yeah, they're pretty up there. And I mean like song for song, like it's repeat and back to back. And Whitney Houston, I listen to a lot of. So also Tina Turner. She just passed away recently, unfortunately. I took that one really hard because I really, really liked her.
Sure.
But yeah, I even listened to like Selena Quintanilla. So I'm just very broad. Like I'm a very broad person. It can range from anything. Just depends on the feeling. But yeah, I would say I like really soft tempo. I like soft music. I don't like the music to be too abrasive. So like nothing like metal. I just feel like I want to be kind to my ears,
Yeah.
So I'm more in the stream of soft tempo music like Daniel Caesar and stuff like that.
For sure. And now you're getting back into the swing of things. You're getting back into releasing music. When can we expect new music? When can we expect a new single or whatever you got planned?
That's a really good question. Um, I would have to say in the next coming months, I have a lot of performances and things like that, shows and interviews. And again, thank you for having me.
No worries.
And yeah, so I'm gonna be releasing music and along with that visuals and stuff like that. So in the coming months, definitely not like 3 months, like less than 3 months. So you can expect it pretty soon.
For sure, that's sick. And you mentioned, you brought up, you have live performances. When can people catch you outside? When are you going to be doing these shows?
So they range from like Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa. So you can follow my Linktree. It's in my bio, my Instagram, and that it's like all organized and you can kind of go through and see. You can also contact me. So my business email, and then basically I have a manager as well. Her name is V. So yeah, basically I have a lot coming, but everything is organized in my Linktree. So that's kind of the best place to see me.
Fair enough. And obviously outside of just music and live performances, what do you have planned for the future? Or what's next for Maral?
That's a big question. So like music or just in general, like music and
just music career, maybe getting into starting clothing, whatever the case may be. What's next for you?
So for music, I have like my big goals, like Rolling Loud and things like that. And I have smaller goals. So kind of what I'm doing now. My biggest goal for the summer was having a lot of shows and basically being outside as much as I can. And getting my name out there as much as I can. I think the biggest goal and something that I'm looking forward to is just spreading my name, because I think that my music could really help people, and I think that my music is just very deep, and I think it's different from what people are used to. So I feel like just getting my name out there is the biggest goal for me. But yeah, performing in front of people is probably another one of my biggest goals and aspirations, and something that I'm looking forward to. So yeah.
That's super dope. So for the people, where can they find you on social media?
So my Instagram is official Maral, Maral, with an underscore at the end. So in my Instagram, in my bio, there's a Linktree, and it has everything, like my TikTok, my YouTube, my Snapchat. You can contact me. It has all of my upcoming performances. It even has like links to my music videos and stuff like that. So yeah, I try to keep it very organized. So it looks really nice so far.
Dope. So that was the interview with Maral. Thank you again very much for coming through.
Thank
really
you.
Dope conversation. Really good talking to you. I'm DF2. That's Maral. Peace, y'all.